Hello everybody, it's TannerFishies here, back again with a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video, we are going to be discussing yet another popular Ninjago fan theory following some alleged Ninjago leaks that occurred over this past weekend. Now, in case you guys have not been caught up to speed, there had been a pretty massive leak, I suppose, over this past weekend, with the voice actress of Ultraviolet allegedly posting the names of some of the upcoming 2022 episodes. Those two episodes are allegedly called Quit in Time and The Return of the Ice Emperor. Now, the second of these two titles gathered the attention of a lot of Ninjago fans because it allegedly confirmed that the Ice Emperor would indeed return in the next year for Ninjago, which is a subject that I've already done multiple videos on. You can find those pretty easily on this channel. But in regards to this leak, it's very intriguing, and for the most part, we're not exactly sure if this is legit or not. We have screenshots of the alleged Instagram post for sure, but once again, this could all be a fabrication for all we know. There is not a 100% confirmation of this being the case. Regardless though, several Ninjago fans have been actively talking about these leaks over the past several days, and one of the most popular fan theories to come out of that discussion is the idea that there will be a villain team-up next year for 2022, and there actually is evidence to back this up in the leaks themselves. So the leaks themselves came courtesy of Ultraviolet's voice actress, like we said, Ultraviolet being a character that was first introduced all the way back in Sons of Garmadon. She was part of the Sons of Garmadon crew, and she has since made subtle appearances over the course of the newer Ninjago era. Ever since Ninjago moved over to Wild Brain Studios, Ultraviolet has been making casual cameos over several seasons, especially alongside characters like the Mechanic and Fugitive, but we'll get more into those characters later on. Now, the idea is that since Ultraviolet's voice actress posted these two episodes, it's very possible that Ultraviolet could be returning, alongside several aforementioned villains such as Fugitive and the Mechanic potentially. The Mechanic made a grand reappearance during Season 12 Prime Empire, and Fugitive himself has been making quite a few cameos as well, and is rumored to be making a big comeback in the year of 2022. Now let's just say for a second that this is the case. There will be a big villain team-up. What exactly is this going to be all about? Well, if you think about it, the other rumor is that the Vengestone arc will be ending next year. The Vengestone arc obviously being a thing since Master of the Mountain, it would make sense for it to conclude at some point. We got a little bit of a hint towards it in Ninjago Seabound with the character of Misdemeanor, and it's been confirmed by Tommy Andreasen himself, one of the co-creators of Ninjago, that there will be a conclusion next year for the series. A lot of folks immediately jump to the assumption that he's talking about the conclusion of the Vengestone arc. Now, the Vengestone buyer has been a subject of debate among the Ninjago community for several months at this point, but I've never really considered the Vengestone buyer to be multiple people, and that's truly where this theory comes into play. The theory goes that there will be a villain team-up of sorts, and all of them will be revealed to be the Vengestone buyer. The Vengestone buyer was not one person, rather it was a team of villains all along, and this team obviously wants revenge on the ninja for obvious reasons. All of them have past instances with the ninja that don't really sit right with them. A lot of those villains are in jail because of the ninja. It would make sense that they would want some type of revenge. A villain uprising or a villain team-up of sorts would be a very cool idea. However, we already saw something like that happen all the way back during Day of the Departed. That special in Ninjago also saw a team-up with a bunch of villains, but I feel like this time around the villain team could be a legitimate team. Back during the saga of Day of the Departed, several villains were revived and they kind of worked together towards the start, but then branched off to each take on one of the ninja individually. This time around, the team could actually act as a solid group, and there are several candidates that could actually apply to this team, such as the previously mentioned Ultraviolet and Fugitive, maybe even the Mechanic to an extent, though his return is a little unlikely in my opinion, but I do feel like we could see the return of other villains, including characters like Pythor and Nadakon, because those two characters are probably some of the most famous fan choices as to who the Vengestone buyer could be. Pythor obviously has not been in the series for a long time, and Nadakon has been kind of floating around in the background. We are constantly seeing the Teapot of Tyron floating around in the background, and even going as far as to see Clutch Powers himself activate the Teapot to some degree. But like I said, there have been several cameos and background appearances for Nadakon's Teapot. A lot of people are suspecting Nadakon's big return, and if Nadakon does return, it would very much make sense that he could be the leader of this new villain team-up. And like we mentioned in a previous video, this could also tie in with the return of the Ice Emperor. As I mentioned in a couple of other videos, the Ice Emperor might be returning, but as a simple disguise for Zane. I imagine the Ice Emperor will be returning as a disguise for Zane after he tries to infiltrate this new villain team to gather intel or figure out what exactly is going on. They could be hosting public tryouts for this new villain team, and Zane could potentially try out for that and maybe even make his way way in. I only mention this because we've also seen Zane go undercover before as the infamous villain Snake Jaguar during Sons of Garmadon, which Ultraviolet just so happens to be a part of. So I feel like all of this will be tied together within the next year of Ninjago. This would tie in the Vengestone arc as well as the return of the Ice Emperor. It just makes too much sense to me. And obviously I don't really expect Zane to get very far in his disguise as the Ice Emperor. I feel like inevitably he will be revealed to be a ninja in disguise, and this new villain group will promptly chase him out of their headquarters, but maybe Zane could get some type of intel as to what this team is doing, and that's when the ninja would realize that this team is in fact going after Vengestone, and it would all make sense to both them and the audience alike. If this is going to be the big reveal of their team up and the big reveal of what their plan is, we could potentially even see the Vengestone buyer himself teased a little bit until his or her identity would be fully revealed towards perhaps the middle or conclusion of the next season. Either way, I feel like this villain team up, if it is going to be a thing, is going to be quite spectacular. There is multiple ideas and multiple ways that you can organize this team, so I'm excited to see what this is going to be if the villain team up is the route that the series is going to be going with. The other option that we have here is the original notion that the Vengestone buyer is simply just one person, and I feel like that could totally work out as well. However, that wouldn't really explain the return of other villains such as Ultraviolet, Fugitive, and even Misdemeanor. Where would they even fit into this whole ordeal if the Vengestone buyer is revealed to be one person? Well, if the Vengestone buyer is indeed going to be revealed as one person, they could totally attract other villains as henchmen of sorts. If the Vengestone buyer is just one person, I have a feeling this will be a brand new character. That was my original idea and my original assumption with the Vengestone buyer. I feel like he's going to be a new character altogether, potentially holding some type of elemental power. But like we've seen throughout all of Ninjago, all good villains need henchmen, and that's where characters like Ultraviolet and Fugitive come in. While they might not be the best options for henchmen, they would absolutely make for good bait and good distractions for the Vengestone buyer to do other things while the ninja deal with them. Like I said, characters like Misdemeanor might already be working for the Vengestone buyer, as we saw during the first couple of moments of Ninjago Seabound. The Vengestone buyer could still very well be a new character, and that would still tie in with Zane's, I guess, new disguise of the Ice Emperor. Otherwise, I'm not really sure how else the Ice Emperor storyline would tie into this villain team up. I honestly feel like it's going to be an instance of Zane going undercover and trying to infiltrate this villain team. Ultraviolet might figure this out a little soon though, because like I said, Zane had pulled the same stunt during Sons of Garmadon. But as I stated earlier, the Vengestone buyer could very well be a returning character. The most popular fan suggestions right now that I've seen are obviously Pythor and Nauticon, but it could very well be somebody like Clutch Powers, or maybe even the Time Twins. People want to see them back as well. And I feel like this new villain team up thing could very well happen. I think that'd be very interesting to see a team of older villains actually acting like a team for once. Unlike the event of Day of the Departed, where the villains only acted like a team for a few minutes, this season could potentially explore the villains team up as a legitimate thing, as an actual team. And this could consist of so many past Ninjago villains that need some type of reappearance. That would honestly put the ninja at a very big uphill battle, and I think this is something that I kind of want to see. I think this could actually make for a very intriguing Ninjago storyline. It would almost be like Day of the Departed, but a little better. Would that be kind of repetitive? Yeah, but if they can do it in a different way, then I don't see an issue with that. We're most likely going to be getting a villain team up at some point similar to Day of the Departed. I mean, how many villain armies have we seen? So we're probably going to be getting a couple of those armies merging together or teaming up in some way before the series eventually does end. And I feel like the villain team up could very well happen next season. It pretty much makes perfect sense. This could have been the Vengestone buyer's plan all along. First he needs Vengestone, and next he needs henchmen. Who exactly is he going to get? A lot of people in Cryptarium Prison, such as Ultraviolet, Fugitive, and perhaps even the Mechanic, and other villains such as Pythor and Nauticon could be involved in some way. I feel like Ninjago has been setting up for this over the past several seasons, and I can't wait to see what exactly the 2022 storyline brings to the table. I'm excited to see what Ninjago brings for 2022 if we do eventually get a villain team up. I am totally okay with that. So thank you so much for watching this video, you guys. That'll pretty much wrap it up from my thoughts here today regarding this subject. Leave a comment down below talking about what you think about this. Do you feel like a villain team up for the next year of Ninjago is likely? And do you think they could all potentially be the Vengestone buyer as a collective group? Do you feel like they're collecting Vengestone to take out revenge on the ninja? Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments, you guys. And who would you like to personally see be the leader of this group? Do you want it to be somebody like Nauticon or maybe even Moro? Leave all your thoughts down below in the comments, and hopefully you enjoyed enjoyed today's video. If you did, you guys feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and check out the links down below in the description from other forms of social media. As always, big shout out goes out to my Patreon supporters, including once again the marvelous Jan. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Once again, my name is TannerFishies, and with that I bid you farewell.